Yeah, the accordion thing, can you tell them about the accordion, the whistle? It was great. So I'm really enjoying Ukraine, I'm really enjoying the culture. And I'm here today to hopefully impart a bit of insight to you on, it's actually rare that anyone has told me I need to move the mic closer. So usually I'm too loud, I gotta tone it down. I'm hoping that everybody can walk out of here today with a little bit of knowledge in branding. I'm from New York, so I will try to speak slowly with consideration to the translator and also the language barrier. So, that's me. I work with the Medical Tourism Association, if you're familiar, and our parent company is Global Healthcare Resources. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction, but first, I would love to know who we've got in the room today. I was told there would be a bunch of doctors. So can you just raise your hand if you're representing a hospital or clinic, or if you're a physician? Can you raise your hand? Doctors? Doctors? Either your hands are very low or there's no doctors. Okay. A facilitator? Facilitator? Okay, lots of facilitators. Insurance company? Government? Anybody representing a government here? Ministry of Health? I didn't think so. Employer? Anybody? Probably not. Okay, so I was pretty right on my assumption that a lot of hospitals, clinics, physicians, facilitators. That's great. So, what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction into who we are, so you know who's speaking to you. We're going to talk about branding versus marketing. We're going to talk about why branding matters, branding your hospital or clinic, medicaltourism.com, which is a website that we have, and some opportunities for you on how we might be able to help you if you so choose. Some of the clients we've worked with over the years, I'm going to go through these very quickly, so forgive me on my speech here going a little bit quick. Most recently, Abu Dhabi Department of Culture and Tourism, Abu Dhabi Department of Health. We recently moved our conference after 11 years to Abu Dhabi. We'll get into that in just a little bit. We've worked with many governments and big insurance companies and other organizations around the world. We published the Medical Tourism magazine. We've been doing that for the past several years. That is our publication. More publications aside from our magazine, books that we've put out. The Medical Tourism Index, you may or may not be familiar with. We'll be putting out a new one very shortly. Medical Tourism Index is essentially research on destinations around the world. Global Buyers Report, something that's very valuable if you're in the medical tourism business. Again, forgive me for going fast, I just want to give you a brief oversight. Workshops, we do workshops around the world. This is the conference that Ina mentioned earlier today that we've been doing for 11 years. Now our 12th year has just passed, and we moved to Abu Dhabi. We have an MOU with the Abu Dhabi government, and we plan to do it for the next 10 years in Abu Dhabi. CMTP, Certified Medical Travel Professional. This is a certification that we offer to the industry. Global Healthcare Accreditation, it's a partner company of ours, and it's all about accrediting your hospital internationally to show standards, not just standards of care and quality, but also specifically for medical tourism and the business of medical travel. Okay, so now you have a brief understanding of who the MTA is if you get into it already. Hopefully it wasn't too brief. And so now we're going to talk about branding. So I think the one thing that we need to talk about is what is branding. First we have to define what branding is, and we're going to spend a good amount of time there. And so branding is who you are, how you set yourself apart. Hence our reference here. Our yellow fish is going in the other direction, setting himself apart from the other fish. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how you can set yourself apart from all the other hospitals and clinics. And my presentation will be mostly on hospitals and clinics, for hospitals and clinics. Okay, so branding and marketing, two different things. And I think that is a common misconception. I think the words are used interchangeably, and I think there's a lot of overlap between the two. However, branding and marketing are two different things. Branding, it's a long-term strategy. Marketing is essentially a short-term tactic. So branding is about pulling you in. If I can pull you in, I have a great brand, right? Whereas marketing is about pushing. I'm going to go out to get you. Branding is pulling, marketing is pushing. Branding is about emotion. It's about loyalty. Marketing is more so about reason. It's about logic. So what is branding? Branding, I'm not sure why my friend here is blurry, but branding, if we want to relate it to a person, branding is the man himself. So his brand is his height, he's short like me, his weight, his voice, his facial expressions, his hairstyle, things that are semi-permanent. You can change your hairstyle, but you're pretty much wearing the same hairstyle every day. That's your brand. That's who you are. The way you talk, that's who you are. Marketing is each variation of you, right? Again, we're talking about the person himself. Marketing is how that person acts. Again, we're creating an analogy of what branding and marketing would be if they were people. Marketing is each variation of that man. I promise it will start to make sense from going over this in several different ways. So, let me help everyone to consider what the word brand means. Many people might not be able to define the word brand. However, you've probably heard of a rebrand. A rebrand is when a company decides, I'm going to be someone new. I'm going to be a different organization, or I'm going to change the perception of what you think about it. That might be me hopping off the stage mid-presentation and changing my coat. That's a rebrand. And so we've seen that done over time. Two international companies that I'm sure you know, McDonald's and Apple. Why do you rebrand? Well, at some point, if anybody recalls, in the early 2000s, McDonald's, especially in America, was under fire. They were being criticized for their relation to the obesity epidemic. We have a lot of doctors here, so I'm sure you're familiar. So what McDonald's said was that we need to change what people think about us. And so how did they do that? And how do companies typically do a rebrand? It involves first a logo, right? The logo is a very essential part of the brand, which again we'll talk about. But what do you see when you see these logos? You see the brand. So rebranding, as you can see, is directly, usually, tied to the logo. Marketing is done after a rebrand, right? McDonald's now reestablished their brand, and now they have to market that. And so we see ads here that are promoting this new McDonald's. So about healthy food, or so they say. Salads, get a salad at McDonald's. So they started pushing ads that were about health, showing we're not the company that sells cheeseburgers and makes people fat anymore. We're a different company now. Now we sell salads, and now we sell healthy foods. So some of the elements of branding and marketing, I won't cover each one, but branding, again, you'll think of brand or branding, and you think of fonts and colors. It's absolutely related to the brand. The tagline. Tagline is a quippy, short statement about the company. The logo. All these things are related to the brand. Marketing is done after the brand. You have to have a brand before you can market that brand. And marketing, you have elements that involve campaigns, typically. Marketing is directly, marketing and campaigns, an ad campaign. And how that's executed, whether it be through PR, public relations, through media, or whether that be through digital advertising, or SEO, which we call search engine optimization, how your company is appearing in search. These are forms of marketing. But these, I think it's very, I don't remember what's after this slide, so let me just address this now. You have to have a brand before you have marketing. Now, it is possible that you've already got your company, you're up and running. You've got, let's just take a hospital. You've got your hospital, but you've never considered branding. You're actually doing marketing right now. You're paying money on the digital side, Google AdWords. You've got a billboard outside in the streets of Ukraine. And you've got marketing, but you never took the effort and the time and the investment to create a brand. And what that means is you gotta take a step back because branding has to be done first. Branding is the foundation. So this floor, this is the brand, right? And in order to have marketing built on top, you have to have a foundation first. If this isn't here, you can't come up here. But if you happen to already climb up here too early, now's the opportunity. Hopefully I can impart some insight to you today to take a step back, take a step down, and work on your brand. Because your brand is going to be how you're going to succeed long term. I'll show you another element of branding. Branding, if I can find it. Branding is this business card. Have you ever thought about, I go to conferences all the time and networking events all the time where I'm handed less than superb business cards. Your business card, think about it, after this event, you're all going home and you're all going to have a stack of business cards. How are you going to stand out? How is somebody going to remember who you were? Well, if you hand them a nice business card and you impress them with the business card, before you even have a conversation, what do we do at a conference when we meet each other? Hi, I'm Brandon, nice to meet you. Here's my business card. Now, if I hand you something that looks like this, and it's all folded up in my pocket, what are you going to think about me? I might not be too impressive. If I'm standing up here and I'm presenting to you in pajamas, and that's the brand I'm offering to you, and I hand you a business card like this, do you think I've won your attention? Will you listen to me about branding? Will I forget what I'm talking about, but do I have any authority or perceived credibility if I'm handing you something like that? If you don't have a good business card, that's the first step that you can take right now when you walk out of here. Upgrade your business card. You want some tips? Ask me in the hall. I'm happy to answer. But you need a good business card. If I handed you this right now, you would see it's pretty. Is it the prettiest business card? I don't know. That's not the point. But it's simplistic. It's got the information I need on it, no more. It's got nice design. It's actually soft. When I just handed it to someone, they commented on how nice it was, how nice and soft. Does it cost more than your average business card? Absolutely. Is it worth every penny, every US penny more? Yes, absolutely. So, depending on where you're going and what you're doing, if I'm going to sit down with a government official, a Ministry of Health, and talk to that Ministry of Health about why Medical Tourism Association can help them build their region as a destination, which is one of the important things that I forgot to mention, that we do, we don't do this, but if I was really smart, we would have metal business cards. You know why? Have you ever seen a metal business card? It's exactly why. That's why we would have metal business cards. Because when I hand that business card to the Ministry of Health, say, hi, I'm Brandon with the Medical Tourism Association, and he gets a piece of metal in his hand, you appear credible. You appear authoritative. Even if you're a hospital, even if you don't even have a hospital yet, and it's not even built, they're going to think that you are the real deal. I don't know how you say the real deal in Ukraine, but you're official. It's the same thing with your website. It's the same thing with other stuff. So I just want to make that very clear that if we don't have our brand, now's the time to start all over. Because if we're making money, that's great. We're supporting ourselves if it's our own business, our own practice, or we're a part of a practice. That's great. I'm glad we're making money. But if it takes losing some money and perhaps not making some money for a certain period, just so that we can step down here and we can start working on our brand, so that we have a long-term vision, so that our steps, instead of 2 steps, we can build 3, 4, 5. If we're good with 2 steps, fine. But if we want to keep climbing, if this is a long-term play, if you're here because you're in it for the long haul, and you care about your company, jump back down there, climb up, because now you'll be able to keep climbing. So I hope that resonates. Branding, marketing, sales. 3 different things. Great image. I don't know if you can see it too well, but branding is when Ina says to me, I understand you are a great speaker. That's her speaking to me. Marketing is me saying, hey Ina, I'm a great speaker. And sales is me saying, Ina, you need my speaking workshop. You need to bring me on for a workshop. So there's a difference. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please get with me afterwards to clarify, because you cannot effectively manage, run, or own a business if you don't understand how the 3 differ. I'm not saying that you're not going to be able to make money. I'm saying if you want to be a market leader, if you're here to not just be average, if you want to be at the top, then you have to understand what these three things mean and how they differ from each other. This is what branding is about. UVP stands for Unique Value Proposition. If you haven't heard that word, because it is an international phrase, I'm not sure if there's something else that we call it here in Ukraine, but the UVP is taught at marketing schools all over. And you don't need to be a marketer to understand these concepts. In fact, I hope that I'm speaking to you not as marketers, but medical professionals. And you need to know this phrase, because what this phrase means is what is unique about your hospital or your clinic. This was covered a couple times today. Bart mentioned that the Chinese market is looking at Ukraine, well, not looking at Ukraine, right? Because they don't understand why they should look at Ukraine. They don't understand why they should look at the market. If I'm a Chinese or an American, why should I be interested in your hospital? What are you offering me? You have to know what unique value that you bring to the table. This is kind of going to be difficult to explain and translate, so I'm going to keep it very simple. What your unique, is this laser? Maybe? No. I'm a little bit short. Can I have a stool? Yeah. Up here. Your value proposition lives right there. What that means, what is your unique value proposition? What your best prospect or potential patient really wants, and what you do very well. Oh, I turned it off. So,
Стоп. There's no фиксation. Что случилось?
Да, кончился звук.
Звук кончился?
I'll freeze.
Yeah.